The ground vanished. It was as if the earth had been pulled from beneath my feet, leaving me suspended in an endless expanse of blue. The sensation was disorienting, like being caught in a dream where the rules of reality no longer applied. One moment I was asleep. The comfort of my bed, the warmth of the blankets, the familiar hum of the night, all of it was suddenly ripped away. The next, I was here, in this strange, surreal landscape that defied all logic and reason. It was as if I had been transported to another dimension, one where the laws of physics were mere suggestions, floating in a blue void. Panic seized me, my heart pounded in my chest, each beat a deafening drum in the silence. I tried to move, but my limbs felt heavy, as if weighed down by an invisible force. I was bound, tied to something by a thin rope. The rope was thin, almost delicate, yet it held me firmly in place. I struggled against it, but it was unyielding, a cruel reminder of my helplessness. I looked up. Above me a kite danced in the wind. It moved with an eerie grace, its tail swishing through the air like a serpent. The sight was both mesmerizing and terrifying. But this was no ordinary kite. This kite had eyes. Eyes that seemed to pierce through me, seeing into the very depths of my soul. They were cruel red eyes. They burned with a strange hunger. A hunger that sent chills down my spine, making my skin crawl with fear. "Well, well," a voice rasped. It was a voice that dripped with malice, each word a dagger aimed at my heart. The voice came from the kite. "Looks like you're awake." The words were mocking, filled with a sinister amusement that made my blood run cold. The kite's tail swished, a menacing pendulum in the endless sky. It moved with a deliberate, almost hypnotic rhythm, as if it were counting down the moments until something terrible would happen. My voice was a dry croak. "Where? What is this place?" The words felt foreign on my tongue, as if they belonged to someone else. I was desperate for answers, but deep down I knew none would come. The words felt meaningless. I was in a nightmare. I knew it. A nightmare from which there was no escape. The realization hit me like a tidal wave, overwhelming me with a sense of dread and hopelessness. I was trapped, a prisoner in this twisted reality with no way out. The kite's eyes narrowed, as if it could sense my despair. It seemed to feed off my fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. I could feel its malevolent presence closing in on me, suffocating me with its darkness. I struggled against the rope, my movements frantic and desperate, but it was no use. The rope held fast, a cruel reminder of my captivity. I was powerless at the mercy of this malevolent force. The landscape around me was a twisted, nightmarish version of reality. The sky was a deep, unnatural blue, and the ground seemed to shift and change beneath me. It was a place where nothing made sense, where the rules of the world I knew no longer applied. My face contorted in fear, my mind racing with thoughts of escape. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was trapped, that there was no way out of this nightmare. The kite's eyes glowed brighter, their red hue intensifying with each passing second. It was as if the kite was feeding off my fear, growing stronger with each moment of my terror. I screamed, a primal, guttural sound that echoed through the void, but there was no one to hear me, no one to save me from this nightmare. I was alone, trapped in a world of fear and despair. The kite's tail wrapped around me, its grip tightening with each passing second. It was a suffocating embrace, one that left me gasping for breath. I could feel the darkness closing in, threatening to consume me entirely. My eyes began to close, the weight of my fear and exhaustion too much to bear. I felt myself slipping away, surrendering to the darkness that surrounded me. It was a feeling of utter defeat, a realization that I was powerless against this malevolent force. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The darkness swallowed me whole, and I was left with nothing but the echo of my own screams. I woke up with a start, gasping for air. The familiar surroundings of my bedroom came into focus, and I realized it had all been a dream. But the fear lingered, a haunting reminder of the nightmare that had felt all too real. I sat on the edge of my bed, my body trembling with the aftershocks of the dream. It had been so vivid, so terrifyingly real. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was more than just a dream, that it was a glimpse into a darker reality that lurked just beyond the edges of my consciousness. I looked out the window at the night sky, the stars twinkling innocently above, but I couldn't help but wonder if somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of the universe, that malevolent kite was still watching, waiting for its next victim. I lay back down, my eyes wide open, unable to shake the lingering fear. Sleep would not come easily that night, for the nightmare had left its mark, a scar on my psyche that would take time to heal. And so I lay there, staring into the darkness, haunted by the memory of a nightmare that felt all too real. The kite cackled, a sound that echoed through the empty playground, reverberating off the swings and slides. It was a laugh that seemed to come from the depths of some dark, forgotten place. The sound sent shivers down my spine, a cold, creeping sensation that made my skin crawl. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, as if warning me of the danger that lurked in the shadows. This is my playground," the kite declared, its voice dripping with malice. The playground, once a place of joy and laughter, now felt like a twisted, nightmarish version of itself. The swings creaked ominously and the merry-go-round spun slowly, as if moved by an unseen hand. "And you, my friend, are the entertainment." The words hung in the air, heavy with menace. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized the gravity of my situation. I was no longer in control. I was a pawn in the kite's sinister game. Entertainment? I was more confused than ever. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the surreal scene around me. The playground, the kite, the eerie atmosphere, it all felt like a twisted dream from which I couldn't wake up. The rope bit into my skin, a sharp stinging pain that brought me back to reality. I looked down and saw the rope, taut and unyielding, cutting into my flesh. The pain was real, and so was the fear that gripped my heart. I was starting to feel the pull of gravity, a force that seemed to drag me down into the depths of despair. My feet left the ground, and I was lifted into the air, suspended by the rope that bound me. "The rules are simple," the kite continued, its voice like sandpaper on wood, grating and harsh. "Keep me in the air for the next 20 minutes. Fail, and I feast." The words were a chilling ultimatum, a test of my will and endurance. Keep me in the air for the next 20 minutes. Fail, and I feast. The countdown timer appeared, ticking away the seconds, each tick a reminder of the stakes. The kite soared higher, its eyes never leaving mine, as if daring me to fail. My breath caught in my throat. "Feast? What do you—" My mind raced with questions, but the words wouldn't come. The fear was too great, the terror too overwhelming. I could only stare in horror as the kite's eyes bore into mine. The words died in my mouth. I wanted to scream, to shout, to demand answers, but my voice was gone, stolen by the fear that gripped me. I was trapped, a prisoner of the kite's malevolent game. I saw the glint in the kite's eyes. The hunger was real, a primal, insatiable need that promised pain and suffering. I knew then that I had to keep the kite in the air, no matter the cost. My life depended on it. The kite dipped lower. I felt a surge of terror. 20 minutes, it hissed. The clock is ticking. I knew then that I had no choice. I had to keep the kite aloft, but how? My arms were already aching. The sun beat down on me, relentless. I started to kick, to swing my legs, anything to generate some lift. The kite rose a little, not much, but enough to give me a sliver of hope. The minutes stretched on, each one an eternity. The sun was my tormentor. It baked my skin, drained my strength. Thirst clawed at my throat, my vision blurred. The blue sky swam before my eyes. My arms screamed in protest. I was so tired, so tired, but I couldn't give up, not yet. The kite's laughter was a constant threat, a reminder of what awaited me if I failed. "Getting tired?" the kite taunted. Its voice was a low murmur in my ear. "Don't worry, I'm rather hungry. Shut up," I croaked. My voice was barely a whisper. Every word, every breath was an effort. "Such fight," the kite chuckled. "But it's futile. You're mine. You've always been mine." I refused to listen. I focused on the rhythm of my movements, the slight give and take of the rope, on staying alive. Time lost all meaning. There was only the burning sun, the endless sky, and the ever-present threat of the kite. I was close to giving up, close to surrendering to the nightmare, and then I saw it. A shadow, faint at first, then growing steadily larger. Something was approaching. Hope, fragile but real, flickered within me. Could this be my salvation, or was it just another cruel trick of this twisted dreamscape? The shadow resolved itself into the shape of a bird, a massive bird with wings that blotted out the sun. It circled above me, its gaze fixed on the kite. The kite, for once, was silent. Its eyes, however, were wide with something akin to fear. The bird swooped low, its beak a sharp, hooked scimitar. With a snap, the rope that bound me to the kite parted. I plummeted towards the ground, the wind screaming past my ears. Then darkness swallowed me whole. I woke up with a gasp. Sweat clung to my skin. The nightmare, thankfully, was over, but the remnants of that dark dream still clung to my mind, like shadows that refused to dissipate with the dawn. I could still feel the cold grip of fear around my heart, the echo of my own screams ringing in my ears. but the fear, the sheer terror of it all, lingered. It was as if the nightmare had left a mark on my soul, a scar that would never fully heal. I could still see the twisted faces, hear the haunting whispers, and feel the icy touch of dread that had enveloped me. I sat up in bed, my heart still pounding. Each beat was a reminder that I was alive, that I had survived the night. But the question remained, what had caused such a vivid and terrifying dream? Was it just my mind playing tricks on me, or was there something more sinister at play? As I glanced around my room, my gaze fell upon a small wooden chest at the foot of my bed. It was an old, weathered thing with intricate carvings that seemed to tell a story of their own. I'd never seen it before, and its sudden appearance filled me with a sense of unease. It hadn't been there before. I was certain of it. My room was my sanctuary, a place where everything had its place. The chest was an intruder, a foreign object that didn't belong. How had it gotten there? And more importantly, why? I cautiously approached the chest and lifted the lid. The hinges creaked, and for a moment I hesitated, fearing what I might find inside. But curiosity got the better of me, and I peered into the depths of the chest. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, lay a pile of gold coins, a king's ransom, the Kite's promise fulfilled, but at what cost? The coins gleamed in the dim light, their luster almost hypnotic. They were beautiful, but they also felt like a curse. What had I done to deserve this fortune? And what price would I have to pay for it? The questions swirled in my mind, and I knew that my journey was far from over. The nightmare might have ended, but the true horror was just beginning.